When Rodri walks, I swear he's like.
It's not pace, but
Why is he talking like he's in Jurassic Park?
I'm taking pounds, I'm taking yen, I'm taking cash dollar, I'm taking naira, I'm taking everything.
You ain't Trent.
Hey.
You ain't Trent.
I just realised FCM stands for your initials.
FCM on DR Sports. Make sure you guys go and check us out every Sunday. What are you waiting for?
This is FCM on DR Sports, and it's live.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to DR Sports. Welcome back to Live at 5. It's Friday, 5 p.m. on Friday. I'm sure you've just finished work or you're just getting ready for the weekend. We are ready for a weekend of Premier League action. We missed last weekend, but honestly, to me, it's felt like almost a month. It's felt so long since I've last watched a domestic game of football because me, as a Manchester United fan, wrong side, Manchester United fan, we won and then the international break came along. So I've had 2 weeks to think about, United winning and then the international break and everything. But today, I'm joined by two people to go over the weekend's action and also what's been claimed in the press conferences today. On my left-hand side, we've got Laurie. Welcome back once again.
Thank you very much. Great to be here as always.
And then on my right-hand side...
It's Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday. On my right-hand side, I'm joined by both Abby and my dog, Alys. Alys is here once again. So
you said there was only two people, but she's a real person.
Alys is more than that.
She's more than
Alys is the DR dog.
She is literally the DR dog.
Alys is the prediction. Yeah, she is the DR dog. So later on in the show, if you stick with us, Alys will be doing some predictions of some of the games. And when she did it last time, she got 4 out of 4, by the way.
Spot on.
Really?
Alys got all 4 correct.
All 4 correct.
She got Palace to beat Liverpool, she got Brentford to beat United, Arsenal to beat Newcastle, and Brighton to beat Chelsea.
Oh.
She predicted all 4 of them correctly because, Alys, you're a clever dog, aren't you?
She's a clever girl.
Clever dog. But what we're going to start with today talking about is the press conferences obviously are back.
Yeah.
All the managers have done their press conferences today ahead of the weekend's games, and it's been a few weeks since we heard from them. And a lot of people have been talking about
riveting stuff, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of people have been talking about what Arne Slot's been saying. He basically openly admitted that his team are pretty bad at set pieces, both scoring and defending them. And he tried to use it as a bit of a shot at Arsenal. He was like, if the team that are winning the league have scored and 60% of their goals have been set pieces, whereas we haven't really scored any set pieces so far, I'm all right with that because then when we score set pieces, we'll then be better and score more goals. But at the same time, he mentioned that they've conceded 9 goals and 4 of those 9 they've conceded have been from set pieces. And it's not the first time that Slot's talking about this.
What's his problem?
I don't know. I think it was a bit of a... This is what everyone's saying is it's a bit of a weird comment to make. Is Arsenal are obviously, your set-piece FC for a large part. That's such a massive part of your game plan, is being better and more dominant than everyone else at set-pieces. And Liverpool, they've been weak from set-pieces, both scoring and conceding this season. And Slot's openly admitted. He said it when they beat Newcastle 3-2. After the game, he was complaining.
Yeah,
Slot was being like, we couldn't deal with these long throws. I wasn't watching a game of football. I was all this stuff.
I think his point, sorry, because me and Alys are back here. I think his point that he's making is that, Arsenal's goals tend to come from set pieces, corners, etc. And what he's saying is that they score from open play, and then once they sort out their set piece situation, then he would rather that. I think that's what he was getting at. I think, if you can read between the lines. I mean, it's a bit of an odd comment to make because you can say that you're weak at certain areas and you want to improve on it. I don't really know why there had to be a dig at Arsenal for it. But, hey-ho.
Sounds like a man that's under a bit of pressure.
I don't think he's
because he wasn't coming out with all this stuff last season when he was winning.
He's not under pressure. Come on, I know that we.
No, I'm being serious. Well, normally you get managers when they make these types of weird statements and do weird things.
It's deflection.
In my experience, it's normally an indicator that someone's feeling the pressure a bit, and they start coming out with these weird and wonderful stuff. I mean, can somebody tell me when Arsenal score a goal via a set piece, is there an asterisk against it? In the when it's being recorded.
No, a goal's a goal.
Exactly. So
to a certain extent, a goal is a goal. I think the issue when people were talking about this stuff previously with Arsenal set pieces, it was that it was almost your only route. It was like there was a period I remember towards the turn of the year where it was like all the only goals you were scoring was corners. That's obviously Arteta is looking to change that and has changed that to a certain extent so far this season. You're scoring both from open play and you're also scoring from not essentially just corners but set piece situations, free kicks, long throws, all of that stuff.
But just briefly, I see that as credit to Arsenal. They're improvising because we all know that defences, especially at top-level football, they can make it very difficult for you the way they defend. So if you can circumvent that by coming up with ways to score goals, set pieces, long throws, whatever, long ball over the top, nobody should look down on that and be snide. But you know what? Fine. If people want to, cast aspersions or throw shade, let them do it. As long as we keep winning, I've got no problem with it at all.
This season, there's been a massive shift. I think potentially an unexpected shift towards much more Route 1 football, hasn't there? You've seen like Man City, obviously, against Arsenal, when you're at the Emirates, was what, they had like 30-something% possession maximum. What is Alys doing?
I think she wants to get on the table.
She wants to get on the table.
Just come on.
You want to sit down for a minute, Alys?
Go sit down.
She'll be back throughout the show, of course.
Okay.
But there's been a big shift towards Route 1 football. I mean, United against Sunderland, that was pretty Route 1. And Mason Mount said he came out after the game and he said that the instruction was, as soon as Sunderland started pressing, Lamens, our goalkeeper, his instruction was, right, just hit Šeško on the halfway line, just find him. And it's something that Slot has recommended, he's been referencing to in here. So he says, I think in open play we are conceding too many crosses. The amount of long balls that we are facing now compared to last season, I think we're already 1/3 of the way of the amount of long balls we have to defend compared to last season after 7 games already. So Slot seems like he didn't expect this. So obviously they signed all their big players, all their big strikers, their big attackers, and they're really attacking wing backs. Then they failed to get Mark Gahey, which I mean definitely has been a big blow for them, considering that they are not weak at centre back but light at centre back.
Yeah, but they won the league last year with Konate and Van Dijk. So I'm not.
But Konate's not been that good this season.
I think it's also the lack of depth. I think that's the problem of having a lack of depth, and obviously there's a lot of talk about Konate not being there at some point, whether it is, I don't think he'd probably go in Jan, but more towards the end of the season. Having the injuries as well that they've got, it leaves them very weak. It leaves them light. And that is, I think, a massive oversight on their part. I mean, in terms of the window, they had a brilliant window, getting someone like an Alexander Isak. I know it hasn't been as smooth as maybe everyone would have liked it to be, but Ekitike is a really good signing, having new fullbacks. But I think the key area was you knew that you needed to strengthen a little bit of centre-back, and that's an area that they just didn't do. They must have had an option other than Mark Gahey, which is kind of odd that they didn't utilise it. But just what you were saying before, kind of on the whole long ball, we're going back to Stoke FC, type of thing. Obviously, it suits you massively. You've kind of set a new trend of this whole, very 6'3" plus player, very good defensively. Look, football changes. We've gone from eras which are 4-4-2, and it's more of like, Sean Dyche's Big Sam type football. Then we've had like the pepping and the tiki-taka type football and all that. And now we're just going through another cycle, and there's nothing wrong with that. Whether or not that's caught other teams or Arne Slot off guard, that's a different question. That's the thing that he would need to answer. He would need to answer himself. But you still need to adapt and adjust. And okay, if teams are going to come at you and play that way, then you need to be able to facilitate that as a manager. Do
you think that? I'm not going to ask if it was a mistake or not, but it's potentially not necessarily the right idea to be as open as this in press conferences. Like in terms of, because he's literally been speaking, obviously it's on not the eve, but a couple of days before playing Manchester United at Anfield after losing 3 games in a row. And then he was asked for because the question was what's like his message to the players after these last 3 losses, etc. And he just kind of really openly says, we're struggling from crosses, we're struggling from long balls, all this stuff. Ahead of a game at Manchester United after we played very long ball football against Sunderland, is it a bit of a mistake to just openly admit the flaws that his team currently have?
You can make a case for both sides of the coin. I mean, your manager's known to be quite open and honest, isn't he?
But he doesn't tend to be honest and open about necessarily like the flaws of the team. He more talks about the general state of Manchester United at the moment. That's where he's really open. But Amorim does tend to be a little more guarded when talking about like the weaknesses and strength of his team in public.
Well, our manager, I'm not sure if you've seen many of his press conferences, but he's very guarded. In fact, he's very, very guarded and almost suspicious of the press. And you can see it by the way he answers the questions. So tends to make the press conferences not that exciting to watch. He's no Jose, for example, who, he's going to crack one-liners and entertain. But, I'm kind of indifferent to it, really. Yeah.
Do you think it doesn't really have much of an impact on the game?
No, I don't. No.
Like it won't change the way that Amorim might place or set up against them, or like or you might think, is he trying to set a trap? Is he trying to talk about like he's mentioning this, so we try and play long ball, and then turns out they do something else, which then, or is
I
it?
don't mind managers
just
being a
talking?
bit candid and honest at times, to be honest, rather than repeat the same old types of responses to the same old questions. It's quite refreshing to hear a manager, express his thoughts a little bit more candidly. I think that's fine.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
yeah,
it.
I
I also don't think it makes any difference
No.
in terms of how Liverpool would have prepared for the week, how Manchester United would have prepared for the week. I think that, I'm not being funny, they've got footage of every single game at every single club. I don't think it makes any difference. I quite like that managers are more open and honest nowadays, rather than just kind of give that top line answer where they're not really allowed to say anything. I think it's better for fans. At least you can understand. It feels like they connect with you a little bit more when you can see they're being honest. Otherwise, what's the point? If Arne Slot was to sit there and be like, we'll bounce back, performances, haven't been great, but there's all these positives, blah blah. Then you're sitting there and being like, well, no, actually, we've been pretty underwhelming for the whole season so far, and we were getting away scraping wins at the last minute. So you'd rather have someone that is like, okay, we're struggling with this. I mean, it's no different to what everyone else can see. It doesn't mean that that's what he's relaying to the players. It just means that everyone has got a set of eyes, and if you watch football, you can see what they're struggling with.
Agreed.
Some of the chat talking about the fact that Slot at point, like he loses the plot or he loses control at times, because obviously he had it quite. I think we can all agree Slot had it fairly easy last season. In the way of he had a very good squad set up by Jurgen Klopp, and it was Jurgen Klopp's squad. He assigned one player. The rest was just a very good squad with Jurgen Klopp. Salah was on fire, and a lot of the teams in the league underperformed. I think almost everyone bar Liverpool, we think, probably underperformed. Whereas this season, I think when we talk about Slot maybe being under pressure, it's not necessarily the pressure of staying in his job or anything. It's the pressure of expectation that he set himself by. He literally came in at the time he came in, and everyone was like, Liverpool are replacing the big Jurgen Klopp with a guy from the Dutch league. Like after watching Erik ten Hag not be able to transition properly and sustainably from the Dutch league to the Premier League, you got then bringing in someone like him from, was it Feyenoord, I believe?
Yeah.
Was it Feyenoord? Yeah. And then suddenly he wins the league and spends all this money. So maybe there is a certain sense of, there is a natural bit of extra pressure on him now purely because of the expectations set.
No,
They say it's harder to retain the title than win the title.
Yeah, it is always harder to retain it, but I really don't think there's any pressure on Arne Slot. I think this is just what every single news outlet wants to have for clickbait. I'm
not sure. I think there is some pressure on him.
There's no pressure. The guy is one.
No, when you say pressure, I don't mean if he loses next.
There's
Like,
no
he's gonna
pressure.
lose his job,
Apparently. He's not going to get sacked.
Pressure to win.
Look, you've got to be realistic. Liverpool have had so many changes. They've got masses of changes that have happened in terms of both fullback areas. They've lost someone in Trent who was instrumental in the way that they also move the ball forward, the way they build up, play the link up with Salah. Salah hasn't been at his best remotely either. That's an individual thing. Obviously, the whole situation with Diogo Jota, which is incredibly sad. Like these are humans at the end of the day, and that is still going to be affecting them. Like you don't just get over grief and a loss like that in a couple months because there's games coming every single week. So there'll be that. That is also a feeling there. You bring in lots of new players. Alexander Isak didn't have a pre-season. Obviously, I know he understands how to play in the Premier League, but that takes time to adapt to a new club, new place. Ekitike,
I thought he had his
fine.
pre-season at Sociedad.
Yeah, maybe so. And then obviously you've got your, kind of midfield isn't performing to their level, or for example, someone like Konate or maybe Van Dijk as well. I think we can include Virgil van Dijk in that as well. Defensively, they haven't been performing at that. He doesn't always probably get the criticism that he maybe deserves, and a lot of it gets passed off to Konate. But you have to look at both. Like they both haven't been at their best. So I just think that there is a lot of things and a lot of changes that are coming at Liverpool, whereas last season it was completely stable. And I think it was Mohamed Salah that said it at the start of the season at the PFA Awards that said that it's Arsenal.
Salah said it. Was it to Cecil? He said it.
I think it was.
Said it to
Arsenal
Cecil.
are far more settled, to go and win that. They've had a lot more consistency. They haven't had as many changes as Liverpool have had.
But I interpreted that as typical sportsman trying to put the pressure back on the opposition.
Well, like it or not, the pressure is on you. The pressure
is on them as well.
But they had no business really going and winning the league last year. They could have had a bye season with having Arne Slot come in. They just so happened that you did really nothing to do that. It is really your league to win, and you're not going to get away from that this season.
It's not. I think you're being a little bit.
I'm not even saying it's
mischievous.
I'm really not. Any Arsenal fan that wants to make an excuse that it's not your year, rubbish.
No, but hang on, right? So,
Rubbish.
yes, you could say it's our year, and I accept a lot of that. However, let's not overlook the fact that Liverpool won the title at a counter last season, let's face it, with 3 games to go. They're already on the beach, having won the title. Fair play to them. This season, they've spent £446 million on players.
Okay, but you spent over £1 billion under Arteta.
No, but what I'm saying is they've spent a lot of money this season. The expectation is that they're going to win this season. So that's where the pressure's coming from.
But so have you. The difference is they actually won the league last year.
Forget about Arsenal for one. We're talking about Liverpool.
But this isn't even a bad mind thing. This is not a bad mind thing. This is just fact. Like, Liverpool have won in the last 10 years Champions League.
Who was
and they've won
favourites to
Premier
win the
League.
title this season? Who did the bookie have as favourites?
As favourites? Was
Liverpool.
It was Liverpool.
Was it Liverpool?
Yeah.
Well, you were a very close second.
Well, we're second. I'm happy to accept that. But what I'm saying is there is pressure on
Second
Liverpool.
again.
When
There's
you
pressure on
spend that
Liverpool,
amount
but
of money,
there is more pressure on
Yeah.
Arteta, I think, than Slot. There really is.
Yes, arguably.
This is not coming from a
were
biased
saying-
place. This is coming from an actual factual place.
I remember saying to Robbie, I remember saying to you, I remember saying to others that, Arteta needs to win the league this season. Slot doesn't necessarily he should win the league, and if he doesn't win the league, you can say, okay,
There'll be questions.
a bit of a failure season compared to the fact that he won the league and then.
But he won the league
up.
last season in his first season, so he's not good.
So it's a free hit. So are you telling me it's a free hit this season?
No, it's not a free hit this season.
Okay.
It's not a free hit for you either. You must win the league.
No, forget
you must do it. But Liverpool have already done that.
I love the way you're doing
No,
that. You
because
always
it's-
segue back to Arsenal. We're talking about Arne Slot.
But Arne
and the
Slot,
money
in
that
my
he's spent.
opinion,
But
Arne Slot
we're
is not under
comparing his
pressure.
situation to other people's, which I think is a fair comparison.
No, I don't think that's right.
But you're
I think
saying
you
about
need
the
to,
money that
you
it's
need
just
to
been
look
spent
at
this
it
summer.
in isolation. We're talking about Liverpool.
Yes.
You can't bring Arsenal or City into the equation.
But you can.
No, because we're talking about the pressure that he's under. And
I don't think there's any pressure. In my opinion, I don't think there's any pressure.
I respectfully disagree. There's pressure because he's lost 3 games in a row. They're about to play their biggest rival.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the fallout if they lose or drop points to Man United?
If they lose at Anfield to Manchester United, then obviously we can start talking about pressure. But at this pressure,
No, there's
at
pressure.
this time,
When you're at the top, which is, I get it, you've not.
and
been
when you're
operating at
when you're
those-
second, I mean, you only expect to finish second, so that's the difference.
It's rarefied atmosphere for Spurs, so I understand it.
It was rare
But
for
when
you
you're
for
at
a
the
long
top
time when Spurs
and you're
kept finishing
competing
second
for
and third,
trophies,
actually.
real trophies.
Are you competing for trophies?
Yeah,
Because I didn't see you put any type of
absolutely.
pressure on last season, not one tiny bit.
No, but on a serious note,
One of us won a trophy
Liverpool
last
do not
season,
want
actually.
their title.
Only one on this table won a trophy last
Liverpool
season.
do not want their title hopes, and I'm sure you guys agree, to implode after
course
half
not.
a dozen games into the season.
But this
That's
is where
why he's under pressure, because he spent money.
Conversation. We are literally, what are we? How many games are we into the season?
7 so far.
We're 7 games.
Seven
into the
games
season.
in there,
And
1
he's
point
lost
off
3
top.
games back to back.
And
Okay,
you're
one
a
in
point
the-
above them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So no one's capitulating. No one is
No,
running
but they're
away
on
with
the
the league
verge
or
of
not.
capitulating. They are. That's where the pressure.
They're not on the
This is
verge of
crazy
capitulating,
talk.
though.
Crazy talk.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe not. Capitulating is a term too far. How can I put it then? They're in real danger of imploding, because if they lose to you guys on Sunday, that's 3 Premier League losses on the bounce when you're trying to defend the title. If they carry on like this, the title will be over by the next international break. That is pressure.
It
on the
won't be
manager.
over by the next international break.
So let me ask you, if you
Arsenal aren't going to have won this league by November.
Of course they're not. This
Because
is
also you
mental.
are talking about the least likely of the 3 results anyway.
Yeah.
They are odds on to beat United, and
Yeah, but
and
what if
after
they
that
don't?
it's
They're
odds on to
beat
draw.
those other 2 teams as well. They're odds on to beat Palace. Didn't beat them.
Palace hadn't lost a game. What was it in
I think-
in 17 or 18? Like, it's not like they went up to they lost to like Burnley. They lost to a Palace side that have
Yeah,
also
but
had a
Abby,
very
as you know, in the
successful
Premier
season.
League, it matters not who you lose to. We lost to Fulham. We've lost to Palace
Absolutely,
in
but
the
we're
past.
talking about
We've
the
lost
first.
to Tottenham
We're talking
on the
within
rare
the first
occasion.
7 games of the season. The only reason why there's pressure on Arne Slot is because he's brought in lots of different players. You forget
Yeah,
last
that's what I
season
said.
they didn't bring in anybody.
There's
They brought in
standard-
one
Exactly.
person.
That's what, you're
There's-
making my point
There's
for me.
no, but in my opinion, there's no pressure. They've lost
There
a
is
lot of
pressure.
There's no
things. They've
extra
got
pressure.
changes. No
There is extra pressure. Shall I tell you
there's
why?
just not.
There's the stand. Well, there's the
Because last
standard
season he
pressure.
came in under the
But
radar,
nothing
like
more.
you said, Dylan. We didn't know
Right.
too much about this guy. He came from Feyenoord. He kind of had a bit of a free hit, really, because he took over from Slot. Everyone was prepared to say, well, let's see how this guy goes. He does fantastic. He goes and wins a title. They, off the back of that, they go and spend a shed load of money. I could use a
Yeah.
different term, but I won't. Absolute shed load of money. Broke all kind of records. Brought Isak in. Brought this in. Brought that in.
Do you not think that takes
Now
time?
people are saying we want to see what you really are about.
But
last year could have been an absolute
But do you not
one-off.
think that takes time for players to adapt and players to embed themselves
It
in the
does,
sport?
but what I'm saying is the pressure now is more now than it was last season, because last season wasn't.
Well, yeah,
It was a kind of free hit, really, because people were giving him this season, they're saying, now we want to see what you're really about.
Yeah.
And he's lost 2 on the bounce, so you can see the pressure is amping up week by week.
If we were talking about 5 losses in a row, I'd say there's pressure. We are literally talking about 3 losses. One being, a Galatasaray, which is a very difficult place to go in terms of the atmosphere anyway. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, you're saying that now. You weren't saying that a couple of weeks ago. You said that they were going to beat Galatasaray.
I would expect Liverpool to go and beat anybody because they're Liverpool and they're current champions. That's why I would expect Liverpool to go and beat anybody. But at the same time, they've got a lot of different factors, which I've mentioned, that have changed.
Yeah.
And they had stability for years. So, in my opinion, he's not under pressure at this moment in time. If we're sitting here by the next international break and we're saying he's had 6 losses, then we can talk about pressure. But at the moment, I think this hysteria is absolutely mental.
A really
Bizarre.
good point that was made in the chat. So, okay, out of all the teams in Europe last season, like the Europe's big leagues, who would you say are the best season last season? Because I think most people would say PSG, right?
Yeah.
PSG the best season. Someone in the chat, I can't find it, but it was a really good point, is PSG's start to the season wasn't fantastic. They won their first 5, like Liverpool did, and then it was a draw, win, loss, draw, win, draw, win, and they lost to you as well in the Champions League and stuff. PSG did not have a great start to the season, but they finished it fantastically. And I think when we talk about pressure, I think half of some of where you're coming from is based off the hypothetical that they could go and lose more games. Like, because if they lose against United and then the next few games they have, draw, lose, etc., then, as Abby's saying, at the next international break, if they've got 1 win in 4, then what you're saying, I think, does become much more of a reality. Yeah. But at the moment, it's based off they had 3 losses in a row and then there hasn't been anything since. So they haven't been able to just like bounce back and win the game the next weekend.
No, don't get me wrong. Liverpool are very capable of putting it on you guys, which I actually think they will. I said in when we spoke previously, I thought they'd win. I'm going to give my prediction later again. But anyway, I think they'll beat you guys this weekend. But what I'm saying is there is pressure there because when you're... and that's why the Premier League is such a difficult league to win for the most part, because week in, week out, there is pressure on managers. We've seen it, not just with Arne Slot, of any time. If Arteta was to lose 2 or 3 on the bounce, trust me, he's going to get it, because that's just the nature of the beast.
But would Arteta actually be in danger of anything?
I don't think he'd be in danger of losing his job because he's got a very good relationship with the board. But with the fans, it's different. They will, you saw, didn't you, at the start of the season, Abby, when we lost to Liverpool and then dropped points to Man City, there were Arsenal fans openly saying, look, I don't think this guy's up to it. You know what I mean? He's
I think there was anger, but there wasn't like pressure in the way that Ruben Amorim, for example, is under pressure.
Is where that anger comes from,
but
because there's
different levels of pressure. Like,
of course,
I just don't like. For example, Mikel Arteta is under pressure to win a Premier League or a Champions League because Arsenal have been spending money over the last seven seasons with him there and have seen 1 FA Cup. That's it. But this is true. This is not me being bad-minded.
I like you're very skillful with the way you...
Well, it's just
you
fact.
said the same thing earlier, though,
It's
Laurie.
just fact. He's under pressure.
No, but we're coming from a different place with it.
But it's fact.
There's an inherent sarcasm in the way...
There's absolutely no sarcasm in it. It's literal fact.
It's true.
Okay?
It is fact.
You can go and ask. If anyone else is sitting in this exact seat, Flex would tell you the same thing. So would Missy, so was AGT, so would Rob. Well, actually, Rob wouldn't, but still. But the rest of us would.
All non-Arsenal fans.
Anyone that's non-Arsenal, that has a non-Arsenal agenda, would say the exact same thing. So he is under pressure to go and deliver a big prize for Arsenal because he's also spent a hell of a lot of money doing it. You've spent over $1 billion, right? To now get to this point. You've assembled a squad that is able to go and do that. And you haven't had many changes in that squad over the last 7 years. Well, you have obviously from the first 3 years, but in the last 5 years, you've had a lot of stability. You've developed players in the way that you've brought them through the academy sometimes. Obviously, you've had a lot of stable partnerships, brought in the right players, and that's that. That squad that won the league last year with Arne Slot was still Jurgen Klopp's team.
Yes.
There was nobody brought in apart from Chiesa.
That's right.
He's gone and won a title, which arguably he shouldn't have won last year because he didn't really have the right to do it in that sense. They were going through their transitional season. But that might be that this season is their transitional season. They've lost both their fullbacks in terms of stability. They've lost a player in someone like Diogo Jota in terms of on and obviously off the field, the impact that has. Salah's not performing to the level that Salah usually performs at this point. That could change on Sunday. And again, it's adapting to how he wants to play, new players coming in, and that just takes time. I don't think that there is any danger of Liverpool not being in this title race. I don't think so. I don't think there's any danger in Arne Slot, as it currently stands, that there is any pressure on him. If they go, for example, on Sunday, Manchester United to Anfield, and they beat Liverpool, or even if they get a draw, then maybe we can have this conversation on Monday. But those 3 games that Liverpool have lost, they have also been away from home. Palace, not easy ground to go to, but on an unbelievable run. Galatasaray, not an easy ground to go to. Unbelievable fans, unbelievable atmosphere, very, very hostile. And then, all right, the last one maybe, but still, you don't want to see the twerking.
No.
But I just think that there is really not that much. Like, this whole thing, hysteria surrounding it is just nonsense at the moment.
Well, maybe hysteria is, if it is hysteria, then that's a little bit too far. But I would definitely say it's under a bit of pressure. You could tell when a manager's under pressure because they start coming out of uncharacteristic statements like what Dylan was referencing earlier. That is the absolute embodiment of a manager that's under pressure. I've seen it with Arteta. They start coming out of all these
I've seen
weird...
Arteta say lots of things every single
Exactly.
week.
So for example, when we dropped points against City, a game that we should have won, he made this bizarre statement about how we played better against City, drawing at home, than we did last season when we beat them 5-1. Now, when I heard him say that...
Yeah, but that's delusion.
Okay, it's
That's
delusion.
pure
But what I'm
delusion.
saying is born out of frustration and the pressure that's being applied to him week in, week out. So he's trying to put a different slant on it that people like me and you, people who know football, we just look, come on, bro, stop capping.
But
you know what I mean?
So we've now circled back to the main point.
Exactly.
So Arne Slot,
when Arne Slot is
honestly
making statements about
football,
set pieces and so, I didn't hear you come out with his stuff last season. It's an
different.
indicator
Only you lot
of
were
the
doing it.
pressure that. No, it's an indicator of the pressure because when he was winning and everyone was nice and dandy, he's just getting along with his thing. Now they're losing games and people are asking questions and he's under pressure. He's coming out of all this stuff.
I think
Do you
a lot
think
of
he's
these
under
questions-
pressure?
Slot, he's not under any extra pressure than
Normal.
what he had at the start of the season.
I
I
agree.
don't think it's unexpected the way Liverpool have played and how they've won games, which has caught people off guard in the way that they've won games in the last minute and they've not been necessarily scoring all the goals that they did last season. They're conceding more than last season. I think people are surprised at the fact that they've not been as great as before.
Yeah.
But as Alex has been saying at times, and other Liverpool, Doyle, etc., have been saying at times as well, when you buy £450 million worth of players, it takes a minute. Exactly. And I think so. I think there might be extra pressure when you come from that perspective, but also almost, what are you doing, Alice? Also, that to a certain extent, that's almost countered by the fact that those who apply the pressure where it actually counts, i.e. Liverpool fans, Liverpool board, etc., it's counteracted by the fact that they are going to give Slot more leeway because there were going to be teething issues.
Of course.
So,
Oh, yeah,
so I
they're
feel
gonna give you, it doesn't mean to say
on
there's
the
not
balance of
pressure.
everything, there's not actually any extra pressure than what was at the beginning of the
No.
season. But again, as we said, if it becomes 1 win in 4 in the next 4 games,
Then we can talk about it.
Then we can have we will have a serious conversation because if they don't start getting better, if they keep playing like this for the rest of the season, then you go, okay, there might be a longer issue here. Because we're not there yet, it's hard to then say that we're definitely going to be there.
And I would finish by saying this very briefly. As well as Slot did last season, you can't tell me it's not in the back of his mind that there will be a certain amount of people out there that will look at what he did last season and think, okay, fine, but that was Klopp's squad. This is your squad now. Last season, everything worked out fine for you. Let's see what you're really about this season.
Of course, but that will
I'm
take
pretty
time.
sure that is in the back of his mind. And that's what I'm talking about, the pressure that factors into when you start hearing managers coming out with these kind of bizarre statements. You think, what? Trust me, pressure is there.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but it's more, as I said right at the beginning, I think that's to do with part of this pressure conversation is coming from the hypotheticals that it could
100%.
keep going wrong. But we got to wait and see for those hypothetical.
And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of a 38-game season. There's going to be ebb and flow.
And there's going to be so much stuff. You know, say United could be 2 points off Liverpool at the end of the weekend for some reason. But it might not be. But obviously the games haven't happened yet. But what we're going to do is get Alys to predict some of the results.
Go on then,
so,
Alys.
as I said at the beginning of the show, for those of you who maybe weren't watching at the time, this is my dog Alys, and she came on a few weeks ago to do some predictions, and she got 4 out of 4 right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give her another 4 games. She's going to be predicting Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea, Fulham versus Arsenal, Spurs versus Villa, and Liverpool versus United are going to be the 4 games that she's predicting. Okay. So Alys, I'm going to clear the table for you. We're going to get you up on this table, and we're going to see what you think about this weekend's results. So I need to give Abby and Laurie, you need to get some treats. Right, Alys, oh, she's in my pocket. There you go, she's in my pocket. Right, I need to give you guys some treats. Alys, you stay there for a second. Where are they?
Hope you guys love having Alys. Alys, they've got your bum on the screen.
Alys is the best. Yeah.
Ask permission, guys.
There you go.
Load me up. Thank you.
She's gonna go, and then Alys.
No.
Not yet, Alys.
No, good girl. Oh, you're a good girl.
Right.
You are a good girl.
First game we're gonna do. Let's do Forest versus
You need to get her back into neutral.
Yeah, Alys. Actually, I'll come over here.
Okay.
She's trying to high five me. Right, okay, so if you guys put your treats out on one side and the other.
Yeah, but she's looking at me. She needs to look at you for a bit.
Look here.
To reset.
Right. Okay, I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
And then...
We've got Chelsea and Forest.
Right, Alys, Chelsea or Forest?
Who's going to win?
Which way? Come on, Alys. You got to make a decision. Oh, she's gone for Nottingham Forest to beat Chelsea. She's gone
Forest's first win.
So is that Ange getting his first win at Forest? We're going to touch on Ange Postecoglou and his recent quotes in the last few days.
Yes.
But next game we're going to go with Fulham versus Arsenal.
Oh, that should be easy.
Okay. Right, Alys, go back to neutral.
Alys, come back to neutral. So she'll have a treat here. Come back to neutral. There you go. Right. Put one out either side. Fulham
Mine's out.
Look at me, Alys. Right.
Okay.
Right, go on. Predict another game, Alys. No, it's not me. It's one of these. This way or that way.
Oh, come on. Come this way. Come on, babe.
Come on, Harris. The easiest one you could ever look.
No, Alys,
She's gone Arsenal to beat Fulham.
Alys, I trust you, Chew.
Right.
That's a home banker, mate, that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Fulham. I mean, we said a couple of years that recently, obviously, Fulham have been a bit of a bogey team for you at Craven Cottage.
No, you can't have that. You can't have that now. Right, off you go. Definitely
Alys,
not. Off you go.
Come here.
Definitely not.
Alys, come
There's
here.
only one right answer for the next one as well.
Come here. Right, Alys, look.
Okay, we're doing Tottenham.
Yeah? Right, so we've got Tottenham versus Aston Villa.
Oh.
Alys.
Okay,
Don't
ready?
fall off the table. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Look at me. Go on, put it out. Right, you ready? She's spotted the Villa one.
Okay.
Right, go on, Alys.
No, Alys, no!
Aston Villa to
Wait, she's not done yet. She might want to draw.
No,
No?
We're going with this. No, I'm not having it, Abby. I'm not having it.
Oh.
So, Aston Villa to beat Tottenham, according to the DR dog.
You're meant to be my friend.
And last one.
No, go away. Go away. I bet you come
Alys.
to me this time, don't you?
Alys,
away.
come here. Put the last two out. You got Liverpool versus Manchester United. So she's concentrating on this one. So put yours two out. There you go, Alys. Right, last one. You know what to do, Alys. You know what to do.
Alys.
No!
Clever
Oh,
girl.
Alys has predicted Liverpool. So Arne Slot
Here, you can have another one. You can have another one for being such a good girl.
For Manchester United and Liverpool to beat Manchester United. I'm fuming, Alys.
Well,
you're my dog.
Hopefully
I thought we were friends.
Hopefully she's wrong because she said that Spurs are going to lose.
I mean, you never know. Thank you very much. Right, Alys, well done.
Clever girl.
Right, clever.
If you keep your 100% record,
I
that's
spilled
mental.
so many sweets under the desk.
So many treats.
Yeah. But, so, results. How do you feel about Alys betraying you, Abby?
I'm not feeling happy about it because I'd really like Spurs to win. I'm looking forward to going on Sunday. Yeah.
What time's that kick off?
2 p.m. on Sunday. So we predicted 2 Saturday games, 2 Sunday games. But
It's a good Super Sunday.
Yeah, it's a good Super Sunday. Alys has predicted Nottingham Forest to finally get their first win of the season.
Yes.
Is what she's done. And Ange Postecoglou has been his usual box office self in the press conference. Obviously, we are very used to Ange Postecoglou and his bravado. And essentially, it's a massive, long quote from Ange Postecoglou, so I'm not going to spend 5 minutes reading it out. But effectively what he said is, if you give me time, the story always ends the same, with me and a trophy at Forest. So Ange has lost, is it 7 games? So he's
basically trying to talk himself into a job for next season.
And effectively, so what he was told, what Ange said is what he was told by those at Forest, the high ups, so Marinakis and co, that everything at that club at the moment is geared towards lifting some sort of silverware. So like, you know how like the kind of season the Crystal Palace had last season, right? Where they finished 12th and you go, 12th again, but they won a trophy and it was amazing for their first like major trophy at the club ever, and that's seemingly what Forest want. So do you think maybe the fact that they're just gunning for trophies rather than like a high place Premier League position, high place finish in the league this season, gives Ange a bit more leeway, because you obviously don't know if they're going to win a trophy until later on in the competitions?
Well, I would say when it comes to Ange that he does tend to deliver when he does make these big statements, right? He has backed them up. It's an iconic moment. He did that at my club. So if that is what they've hired him for, then in fairness, like, he's a pretty good man for the job. However, the Forest fans, I think the sacking of Nuno was so unfair because of the job that he did. You know, I think Forest fans want to see them be competitive. They don't want to be circling the drain and potentially end up in another relegation battle, especially after the season they had last year. Obviously, would they take that type of a season like Spurs had if it meant that you could then go and win a trophy? You'd have to ask a Forest fan, but maybe they would, to have that like glory day back at Forest again. I was also listening to kind of his other words, you know, people saying like, again, talk about pressure. That is pressure, for example. And, you know, he was saying that when he was at Spurs that he was, you know, they said that we've tried all the serial winners and stuff like that, and we need you to win a trophy. And he did that. He delivered. And, you know, that wasn't good enough. The first season, obviously, they finished 5th. Second season, we had so many injuries and finished 17th, but won a trophy. So I think that there is... method to kind of what he's saying. I don't think it's like crazy Ange, just, you know, stuff that's coming out of his mouth. I actually think there is some sense in what his presser said today. I just don't necessarily know if Forest fans and Marinakis will be happy for them to lose consistently. There will need to be some type of an upturn. And I think what's the difference with his time at Spurs is that for the first 10 games of his first season, he had 10 good results. And then that kind of came later in the ballroom. He said that was then told as an anomaly, like those 10 games were an anomaly. But you will need to start winning games. So I don't think he's got many more before it probably is then untenable. But if they do want a manager that is going to go and win you something, then you can't really argue with it. Like, he does go and win things wherever he goes. It is fact.
And it'd be a bit embarrassing for him if he then didn't. It would end his whole shtick. That's like, I think, a big reason why he got this Forest job was because, you know, I win everywhere I go. So if Forest are geared towards wanting a trophy, they're going, all right, he wins everywhere we go. We hire him. We're going to win a trophy. But I think no one's expected this to happen so far.
He's actually changed it, because he said, I always win things in my second season. So this is his first. So
will he count this as his first full season, or is he going to say that he's then needs his second full season? Is he going to keep adjusting it to make sure it makes sense?
No. I like Ange. I do really like Ange. I just didn't want him at my club anymore. But I do really like him, and I don't really think that. If let's say they get a win, the whole morale, the mood changes. That gives them a little bit of a lift.
Especially at home against Chelsea, it'd be a huge win for them.
But if they don't, then we're looking at, I think it's eight losses in a row, and then they might be left with no type of European football as well at some point if they don't turn that around.
They need to win a game at some point in Europe.
They were good against Betis, but I don't know. I just think for a Forest fan, I don't think they'd be willing to take the risk on having Ange all season and potentially finish very close to the relegation zone and maybe not win a trophy. I don't think they'd take that risk.
Laurie, with Ange and obviously his bravado and everything that he does, like he after every loss or after everything, he bangs this drum constantly. Do you think he's maybe taking it a little too far? Does he, in terms of like always being so confident and so, I'd say potentially borderline arrogant? with these kind of quotes, or do you think he should, like, because we were talking earlier about obviously managers, Slot, Amorim, etc., being more open and being a lot more honest. Do you think Ange might benefit by being a little bit more honest, or is this kind of the path he's chosen so he can't back down from it?
Yeah, I think the latter is correct. I think that's part of his persona. That's what makes him quite watchable, actually. That's why he's quite a character. But what I would say, I mean, we spoke about pressure earlier. Now, he is a man that is under serious pressure. I mean, just before the international break, Forest's own fans, his own fans were singing, "You're getting sacked in the morning." And if the form carries on the way it's been going, or certainly if the results are carry on the way it's been going, there will be no second season for Ange. I'm going to tell you that.
There won't be no first full season.
Because Marinakis, as we all know, is quite an impulsive, explosive type of character. He's the kind of guy that halfway through a game, if they're not playing well and losing, and the fans are, you know what I mean, taking out on a manager, it wouldn't surprise me to see him sack him immediately after a game. He
and
seems like that
take
type
over
of
the dugout himself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We've seen what he's like. He's given examples of it in the past with Nuno. So, yeah, he's under real pressure. And unfortunately for Ange, I can't see them getting anything from the game tomorrow with a resurgent Chelsea. Okay, Cole Palmer and 1 or 2 other people are out injured. That might give him more of a chance, but I really can't see Forest beating Chelsea. I think Chelsea will beat them tomorrow, and I think the pressure will be really on. And like I said, if it carries on like that, a couple more games, he'll probably be gone by the next international break.
And you've got to remember as well, this is coming not too long after there were very credible links to Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Saying apparently that obviously there's been no decision made yet on Ange Postecoglou. He could still stay, he could win, and then everything's okay.
I mean, am I being churlish? But the only reason why he got the job is because he got a good relationship with Marinakis, who's also Greek.
So
there was a Greek tax on
that's very common.
Well, whether it's common or not, a lot of people would say, did he deserve the job? A lot of people would say, no, he didn't.
The weird thing is that his stock went up. Like, he had such low stock back on the back of last season with the 22 losses at Spurs, that if he hadn't have won the cup, he would have had. There really would have been no one that would have been willing to take a punt on him. I think in this country, my personal opinion. But I think that the fact that he won that trophy, he backed up what he literally said he was going to do, which is such a cold moment, and then he gets sacked, which then I felt was 100% the right decision, because in a league 38 game season, just no. And I think that'll probably be proven over the course of this season as well. I'm interested to see from my personal perspective about how many injuries Spurs get this season. That's what I know. We've got some that are, you know, you can't really help, like the James Maddison one, etc. But how many injuries Spurs had? I think we had 17 at one point last season. I'm interested to see if they were more about the way he wanted to play, or if they were just injury prone and just unlucky. But I think his stock went up in the sense that he then won a trophy. Some people were kind of like, oh, well, you can't sack him now, even though that was the right thing to do based on what they'd witnessed over a 38 game season. Sacked him, and then it was kind of like, oh, but he did this and maybe we should have kept him. And then other people were like, well, he did just win a trophy. I don't think they should ever have sacked Nuno at Forest. I think it's absolutely crazy that he gets you to a point where Forest are back having European football and you go and sack him because of your own personal
But I do think you are right about Nuno, but I also think that Nuno...
But
he knew what he was doing with it.
Yeah, he did know what he was doing, and he obviously just thought, I just can't stand the guy. But at the same time,
not only that, I think him bringing in Edu, apparently that caused a lot of eruptions.
I felt like Nuno had the right to try and lead that.
Yeah, maybe he did, but what I'm saying is when you come out
Ange over him
and make statements like what he did, and don't get me wrong, I like Nuno as well, but when you come out and say, oh, my relationship with the chairman is not good, then we're hearing about the eruptions he had with Edu, about the lack of he went public, didn't he, by saying he wasn't impressed with what they were doing in the transfer. All of these things are incendiary things to say, especially when you've got a chairman of the likes of Marinakis. I mean, we saw what happened with him and Nuno on the pitch towards the end. Was that against Man United, bro?
That was bizarre.
No, it wasn't against United, but yeah.
But you know the incident I'm referring to.
Yeah, when he
when those things start to happen in public, it's invariably only leads one way.
It's so farcical as well, isn't it?
It is.
Like, it really, really is. Like, why is that? Why are you airing your dirty laundry in public?
Yeah. So when people say Nuno got sacked unfairly, yes, you can say that. But then also, did Nuno behave in a way that most managers would behave?
He signed his own warrant for it when he came out.
Because once I heard him say those comments, about him not enjoying. We don't have a relationship.
I do think
come
from the
on.
minute that Marinakis stepped foot on that pitch with his iPhone 12 headphones, I did think that was probably curtains.
So, who knows what goes on behind the scenes? But what I'm saying is, Nuno didn't exactly do his utmost to stay, did he? And he's a very clever man. He knew what he was doing. So
Yeah, I think maybe he reckoned that he can get himself a better job as well now if he got out of Forest now. Maybe he thought, like, after the transfer window and everything, he might have looked at it and gone, I know I can't do better than last season. So he's then maybe self-imploded on, not, I'm going to say on purpose, but he was like, I might lay the groundwork here to get fired or get something so I can then keep, because he said, he's talking about stocks. Nuno's stocks are very high at the moment.
Very
it
high.
was his own
Very
constructive dismissal, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then
he's not a
he's
silly
now-
man by any stretch. He's a very clever man, by all accounts, very.
And he
He
gets to
knew
go
what
to
he
West
was
Ham.
doing. He knew what was going to happen. He probably had offers, pretty much on the table. His agent probably been approached as soon as the first ruptions happened. Probably agents were reaching out and saying, "Oh, here the all's not too well," but
Well, he now gets to do once again a very similar, I'd say a fairly similar type of project at West Ham.
Yeah.
Where like, when he was at Forest, it was about you're right, and he needs to build Forest from bottom half to back in Europe, and it seems to be his bread and butter because he did it to a certain extent.
And I
Wolves,
honestly
bringing
think,
them up.
and I would say this as well. This is just my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't have any, insider knowledge for what I'm about to say. But I honestly think that
Tier
the
two
fact
lorry.
that the fact that he was available and the fact that him and Marinakis have a good relationship made it easy for Marinakis to say to Nuno, "You're gone," and then he had a ready-made replacement.
Probably.
So. That is one of the main reasons why he's got that job.
I mean, he's at West Ham, and obviously he replaced Graham Potter, and it's coming out that, let me just find it.
Sweden.
Yeah, Graham Potter's closing in on becoming the manager of Sweden.
Good luck to Sweden, mate.
There you go, and he'll be managing some. So at Potter, what was always his issue when he was at Brighton then Chelsea was the fact that his teams could never score goals.
Yeah.
Was they would create loads of chances at Brighton, the same at Chelsea, and then potentially at West Ham as well, and they would never actually score. And now he's gone to a national team that have their two main striker options as Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres, one of the Premier League's top scorers, and then Europe's top scorer last season. He obviously, Sweden is a place like he's got a connection with them because obviously his big come up was before he went to Swansea, he was at Ostersund's. That was like where like Swansea picked him from. Then obviously he then went to Brighton, etc. But
I don't know what it is with this guy.
It's a bit of an interesting decision from Sweden.
I really don't see what it is with this guy. I think he's one of the most overrated managers. I mean, I see him in press conferences. I see his demeanour. I look at the guy. He seems such an uninspiring individual. Yeah. I just don't see it. And then when he's managed in the Premier League,
I thought he did
pretty awful. Really.
I think he did a good job at Brighton. I think he did get a good job at Brighton, like taking them from. He took them, I think, as far as he could take Brighton.
He established them in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think he did a good job of that. And then I remember we were linked to him for quite a long time. And he turned us down actually quite a few times. So, silver linings. But I think he's very much about tacticianing and like he's very technical and he's not like very good in terms of like the people facing element. But I just, from a Sweden perspective, I mean, like Laurie said, good luck to you. There is really no excuse in terms of them at least playing a better style of football when you've kind of got that strike force. You add someone like Kulusevski into that as well. It's just he likes to land on his feet, doesn't he? I thought Chelsea was probably a step too far from him with the pressure that comes at a club like Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, if West Ham was anything to go by, my lord.
And he has that body language of somebody. I look at him, honestly. Sometimes as a fan, you look at a certain manager and you think, if I was a footballer, I could play for that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And listen, I could give countless examples of people that, fit into that category. But there are other managers you look at and you think, this guy doesn't come across as management material to me.
Do you think he's
and
just
whenever I see
uninspiring?
Potter,
I think it's
very
the lack of,
uninspiring. He's dour.
It could be just the people that, how you, like you're saying about you have like a personal element with people.
Yeah.
Like just something that people want to believe in and people
He don't
respect.
inspire you at all.
No, I think that might be what's missing from that because you've got to get people that want to play from you. It's like any type of boss. Like
Yes.
if you've got people will like you if you're a good
Potentially,
boss, you're
then
personable.
going into national team management might be better for him.
Might.
Because if you've got, like, you talk about like the players not necessarily maybe wanting to play for him, but if you're a national team manager, you've got the baseline of the players always wanting to represent their national team. Like there's an innate sense of fight, which is why often when you see like teams from smaller nations, often the players then step up a level when they're playing. Like, say someone like Wales, for example, Euro 2016, we were starting with Hal Robson-Kanu up front. And you think, Hal Robson-Kanu at the time was released by Reading. He didn't have a club. He was unemployed technically when he was playing Euro 2016.
Crazy.
But he was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
You had, and the whole Wales team. I say Wales because I am Welsh, and obviously it helps give that example. But like when you go to the national team, there's a certain amount of the players will fight regardless of who the manager is. So if you think that potentially Graham Potter's someone who's not massively inspiring and kind of galvanising players, if he has that extra boost of being able to, there's already sort of like a galvanization around the fact that they want to get in the World Cup, they want to get in the Euros, they want to score, and they want to play for their national teams. It could help him.
It could do. I mean, listen, Sweden, oh gosh, they were absolutely abysmal. Do you know they finished bottom of their World Cup qualifying group?
Yeah.
In a group that contained Switzerland. Okay, they're half decent. But Kosovo, Slovenia.
Yeah, it's not good enough. With
and
the
when you
players
think
that
of some
they
of the
have.
players they got, Jokeres, they got your guy, Bergvall, Kulusevski, Isak. I mean, it's almost criminal. I mean, they didn't win a game in their whole campaign.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's in advanced talks.
So
it seems like
dare I say he will do better than the previous manager.
He probably will.
It's hard to do worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm to be fair to Graham Potter, I'm sure he knows his stuff. I'm sure he's like got an encyclopedic knowledge, and he's very good at tactics and stuff like that. He obviously gives good presentations because he keeps getting jobs.
Yeah, he's
but
very
what
good
I'm
at
saying
good at
is,
an interview process.
at the top level, sometimes it's less about the intricacies of tactics and stuff like that. It's about if you can inspire your team, if you can get them to play for you. We often use the term in football, are they playing for the manager? With Graham Potter, when I look at him, I just see somebody that just doesn't inspire me at all. And I think that might be his problem. That's just me thinking out loud.
Overall, maybe his people skills aren't enough. Yeah, I mean, Danny McNamara in the chat has obviously mentioned there's still two games left, but I think Sweden they're out of the running for the World Cup. There might be the way they can get through the Nations League. I'm not 100% sure if they are in that position or not, but obviously because there are four.
Well, at the moment they've got
available.
1 point.
Yeah. In terms of through the World Cup qualification, they're finished, they're done in. But there might be some. They might be thinking Sweden make this change now. Because maybe the whole new manager bounce thing on an international stage, maybe get through the Nations League and go that way. But
I think international management might be a good job for
potentially
for him
a good reset for him as well, isn't
it? Go there, come again. Hopefully you'll get to win some games, maybe qualify for the Euros or whatever in a couple of years' time, and then his reputation is restored. But as of right now, it's not looking good for him. Yeah,
just to finish off before we end the show in about 9 minutes, just almost going full circle to Liverpool Manchester United is so Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out, and obviously there were the quotes the other week about the whole I want to give him 3 years if I can thing, and I'm still finding it hard to piece together. Where is that?
She's fine, she's laying down.
What are you doing?
She's laying down.
She's lying down. She's had enough. There's the whole Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out and said, ideally I'd give him 3 years, but it was a bit ambiguous as to what he was actually trying to say. I still really can't work it out.
I'll tell you what I thought was ambiguous. He kept comparing your guy to Arteta. I thought there's no comparison. He kept saying, oh yeah, but if you look at Arteta, no, it's a completely different scenario, a completely different example.
Different
Arteta won the FA Cup in his second season or whatever it was, and his transition has been way better. I mean, Arteta at the moment, I think his win percentage is one of the highest of all Arsenal managers compared to Amorim. It's completely different.
Or something.
So maybe you can tell me where the viable comparison is, because I just don't see it.
I think what Ratcliffe was trying to say was he's using Arteta as an example of what can happen if you push through rougher times to then get to the better times. I think that's what he was. I don't think he was trying to say that Ruben Amorim is the next Mikel Arteta because they're going to have the same. Like Amorim himself, when we played you first game of the season, Amorim was asked, how do you compare yourself to Arteta? And he basically went, Arsenal aren't Man United. Arteta was always going to get more time there. to get things wrong than I am going to get here, which I think is true. United.
No, but I think Ratcliffe has been very fair to him so far.
Ratcliffe has given him
fair.
so much leeway. And
Too fair.
This is what I wanted to get into, is that today Amrin was asked about it, and Amrin basically just said that apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe is giving Amrin his support all the time, all the time. Sometimes with a message after games, but I know, and Jim knows that football's not like that. So the important thing is the next game. But Amrin basically was saying, he was asked, do you feel the support internally? Because externally, it's very full on. We're supporting him, we're staying by him, all of that. And it's mad to think that we're in the situation we're in, and I don't think Amrin is in trouble at all. If we lose against Liverpool, only if we get battered do I think there's a bad conversation about it, because it's kind of a free hit, this game. But Amrin basically he went again, it's a long quote, so I'm not going to read all of it, but he effectively said he gets a lot of support publicly, a lot of support internally as well, and it feels like Amrin is still very much deep in the plans of this project.
Well, we're coming up to a year?
Yeah.
A year?
November 1st was when his contract started.
Okay, so we're coming up to a year, and in that year we haven't seen any progress whatsoever. Fine, no problem. Maybe they want to give more time, because chopping and changing managers, again, isn't always the way to do it. It's really not.
Depends who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Chelsea made a very good...
yeah, but like Chelsea did that in a different model of club. Like they were a different animal under Roman. So I understand when you've had so many different managers, like chopping and changing different playing styles, etc. Like they kind of have committed when it comes to Amorim, stick with it for as long as they can. That's not to say he's going to last 3 years. I don't think most managers don't last the full length of their contract. And I think that this weekend in particular, unless you go there and get hammered, he's not in danger of going anywhere. But between now and probably the next international break, that's when the pressure comes back on. It's like you win one a month and it kind of like relieves it for a little bit. And you've had the blessing of having
which is
international
ridiculous,
breaks
by
in
the
between.
way.
So
But one
I don't
win
know.
a month is good enough.
If he hasn't sacked him at this point, he's not sacking him anytime soon. So
that's where I agree. I think it's a bit crazy to say that Amorim's fine. Like we've done is be between 10th and 15th for like the entire time he's been here.
Maybe that's
pretty
just
much
where you're meant to be.
No, it's not. We're meant to be top half at least. Like you mentioned, the next couple of games, it's Liverpool away, Brighton at home, Forest away, Spurs away. I remember we had what was our little bet?
I do not remember.
I can't remember either, but it was something about those next 5 games, because I said we'd beat Brentford and then we got absolutely
We need to run the
booted.
tapes back for that.
Yeah, might need to run the tapes back for that. It was something to do with the number of points that we're going to get. We'll figure it out for sometime next week. Yeah.
Could I just say very quickly on the Ratcliffe Amorim situation? I think it's my contention that as well as giving him sufficient time, I think there's also a little bit of the board do not want to be embarrassed. They've made a succession of managerial appointments have not worked out. So they're hoping against hope that Amorim will come good, because it will justify their selection here. Because you remember, you will remember, when Amorim was appointed and he got the job, he didn't even want to take the job straight away.
No, he didn't.
The board literally...
Now or never.
Not forced him, but strongly encouraged him to take up the job sooner than he wanted to. So they put all their cards in this guy. So
I mean, the managerial change cost 20 million.
Yeah,
it was around 12 million to sack Ten Hag, and around 8 to bring Amorim as staff in.
So when you consider all of that, it's not hard to see why they're going to give him as much time as necessary, because it's on them as well. Because the likes of you guys as fans, you'll be saying, well, who's appointing these guys in the first place? So they want to be seen to be said, well, we got this one right. It took him a while, but he's come good.
The one thing to consider when you're talking about Ruben Amorim and the potential of him being sacked is November 1st is a big change in that contract.
Yes.
Because the termination fee drops off a cliff.
Yeah.
I think. It goes from something like £20 million or £12 million or something like that. I don't know what it drops to, but as far as all reports are saying, it drops quite a lot.
What would you do come November the 1st? Would you keep him or sack him? If it was down to you?
Sack him.
No,
I would. I'm of the opinion
I think
that
90%
Amorim.
of United.
I'm of the opinion. It's not like sack him because I don't think he's a good manager. Sack him because I don't think it's the right job for him right now. I think that Amorim's going to end up becoming a good manager, but he's 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons away from properly, I think, understanding how to manage at Man United. Because he's being so strong with his, I'm not going to change this, not going to change that. And when he talks about that, he's not necessarily talking about like the 3-4-2-1 stuff, because against Sunderland we barely played 3-4-2-1. We were pretty much playing 4-4-2 that entire game.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite good to see. I thought we did quite well. But
I reckon it's
the way that
he'll go back to Sporting.
He might go to Sporting, or he could go to Spain or Italy or somewhere. And I think over time he will become more flexible, and that will make him a much better manager.
For sure.
I think he's going to go on to have a very good managerial career. He's charismatic. Players buy into him really quickly. He's very strong in his opinions, and he can handle himself very well. Press-wise, I think he does handle the press most of the time very well. He just needs to learn to rein it in a little bit, like after the Grimsby stuff. Like, I know we've talked about this before, that was absolutely mad. But my thing with Amorim is just I don't think he's going to become the best manager that he can be right here, right now, and we need someone who will be. We need someone who will be like that. But that pretty much wraps it up for today, for the week. And you guys are going to be able to enjoy a lot of content over DR Sports in the next couple of days. We've got the Saturday football show at 7:30. We've got 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. We've got the FCM, after the Liverpool United game. FCM will be live at Sunday 7 p.m. and then Monday Roundtable is here, and then Live at 5 will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. to react to all the latest drama and over the weekend and everything. But apart from that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and unless you're a Liverpool fan, hope your team win and all of that, and I will see you soon.
Welcome along, weekend roundup. Oh my days, we're in for a great show today, guys. Well, what about the North London derby?
I'm not getting rattled.
We're 3 points off top 4, so it's not looking too bad.
Yeah. Foden 88, Saka 87. I think that's wrong.
Nice that you put your top on. You want to take it off and get the branding out? Happy birthday!
Make a wish to win the league.
I did.
But how much chance will Arsenal have of winning the Champions League?
0, mate.
If we got through PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No.
Hang on, let me finish.
Predictions:
2-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Wolves.
Chelsea to beat Man United at Old Trafford.
Still there.
You're in trouble if we win this game. You better not lose on Saturday. We beat the world champions this weekend. That makes you world champions.
We're the world champions, but you're not in a title race.
This is why you'll never win the league.
6 billion down the drain.
Robbie celebrating a 1-0 win. Abby Pilates instead of trophies. You never walk alone.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.